smoke. I was in Lane School, obviously, and they called off school. There was smoke in your house, and I remember having a real fear that what's going to happen to all of us. Our grandfather took us out one night, and we rode around the Cape, and in some places, the fire was burning right out to the street. I mean, at that point, it was beginning to be over and smoldering, but the smoke was just terrible. So those are the only really sort of bad times that we saw in Lanesville. And other than that, I mean, everybody has said so much. I don't know what I could say to more about it, but there's so many great people in Lanesville. There still are. I don't know people in Lanesville anymore because I just don't get down here enough, but I do recognize the fact that a year or two ago I went into the Cove Cafe, got a coffee and a muffin, and I sat outside the store, and all these people were coming and going in, coming in and going in and going in. None of them ever spoke to each other. None of them ever spoke to me. And I thought, gee, it's so sad. It seems as if too many of these people, they live here, but they really don't see where they're living. They're just coming to sleep, and then they go to work. It seems sort of sad to me. But that's part of living that is everywhere today. But one of the things that I think helped Lanesville a lot, because of the way back then, it was not as stressful as it is today. Young families have it so hard to keep up and keep going and going. It was just peaceful in Lanesville because you could get anything you wanted in Lanesville. You didn't have to leave town. You didn't have to have a car. It was just a great place to live. I think it will always be a great place to live. I wish I could live here myself. Probably won't happen, but everybody just keeps saying the same thing. It was a great, unique town, and it will always be that way in my memory. Thank you.
The common thread here is how wonderful it was to live in Lanesville. It was a community, it was a community of people, and if your parents weren't around, then there were other people to mind you. And my theory about the change comes when, I'm sure all of you, and even in my time, the families of long ago were still living here. The Sharps, the Woodburys, the Harridans, all of them, there were, people from the earliest times still living here. But as they left us, then their children oftentimes would then leave. And that's a common thing that, from even the small Midwest villages, there was no work, and so they left. And so I think that has some kind of a impact on what David had mentioned about changes in Lanesville. And it's just something that evolves. I do want to ask Wally to talk, Edwin, did you have anything more?
What?
You want to talk about the...
Am I up to my 13 minutes yet?
Yes. Would you talk about the open land?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got my 13 minutes.
You got it.
Okay. But how about the store? Did I cover that yet?
Yeah, you did.
Did I cover the store?
A little bit.
No, I didn't. Across the street from me was a market. It was run by others years ago, before my time. Many of them might know about it. But my time is when Emo Rancher, who had a store in Rockport, he purchased this store. And it was Rancher's Market. So he hired my mother and two other Finnish ladies to clean the store so she could open up for business. When they finished their job, they were each paid a leg of lamb. Now a little about the store. This is 90 years ago now. As you go in, On the right, there was a structure with boxes like with a glass cover. There was probably a dozen of them, and they held cookies. They weren't packaged at that time, you find by the way. But there was one cookie that caught my mind. It was a vanilla cookie, it was down on the bottom one there, topped with a nice marshmallow with colored sugar. I don't remember the rest, but I remember that one. They don't make them like that anymore. Then there was a candy counter with extended counter for waiting on the customer. There was shelving for groceries on the wall. Then when you go, there's an archway to the side room where there was a walk-in ice box where the meats were kept and refrigerated with. The iceman would come once a week with his tongs and a cape on, rubber cape on his back, and would carry in these huge blocks of ice that he put in the storage unit, and he'd do that 3 times. Each time he was weighed with the ice and everything. Then when he was all through, he was weighed with his tongs and that. Ice weight multiplied by 3 times and deducted from the whole weight to see what the ice weighed. That's where the meat was all cut and it was served. As you come out of the side room, in the corner there's a large window. There was a caged-in area that held a desk, a chair, a cash register, and a slip register. A slip register because some people charged their goods for the week and then paid them for the week. As you come out on the back wall was a Chanticleer ice cream disc. He came along once a week with the 4 canisters that you would put on the corner of the chest to keep it refrigerated.